This has been something I've been working on inventing for about 15 years. Let's go back a little bit. All right, so flashback. It's about the year 2010 and it's Christmas time. I'm decorating the apartment I'm living at. And you know, I was an art major and a little insufferable about it at times. So I like to go over the top with anything artistic. We were making snowflakes to decorate. And I thought that it would be cool if I could figure out a way to make patterns or stencils that anyone could use to make specific fancier snowflakes. Actually, to tell the whole story, I need to do another flashback inside this flashback. So when I was a kid, we would always have these activity books that would have both activity ideas and some special tools or hardware or equipment that came with them to help you do that said activity. And I liked them a lot. We had a bunch of them. I thought the activities were really fun and it was a really cool concept. All right, back to just the first level flashback. I sort of still had those older activity books in my mind, and so I thought maybe I can come up with a way to create one of those that would work with my idea for these custom paper snowflakes. Okay, enough flashbacks, and now just back to the present, address exactly what we're talking about. So, if you've never done this before, there's sort of a standard way to make a paper snowflake. It's not complicated, but it's fun to do. Got a sheet of paper? First thing we're gonna do is make a square out of it. Gonna fold one corner down to the edge, get that nice and lined up. We now have half of a square and some extra paper, which we're going to cut off. There you go. Square of paper, fold it in half. We now fold it in half again, point to point. Square piece of paper, fold it into quarters. Now we take this and we fold it into thirds, with the thirds all meeting at this point here. And now we cut across this horizontal line. So this section here, this sort of ice cream cone shape, represents 1/12 of our whole piece of paper, which you can see as we unfold it is actually a 12-sided polygon. Now by cutting in from the sides and the top, we are creating a geometric shape that is mosaically tiled radially, and we can make some fun snowflake shapes. There we go. I cut some pieces out of the top and sides and one out of the bottom. Now we unfold it. There you go. Radially symmetrical, 6 instances of everything you cut out, and it looks like a snowflake. Very fun stuff. Now I personally think it's actually a lot of fun to just make these up on the fly and get whatever design you're gonna get, but it can also be fun to try and get a specific pattern. And that is where these come in. So these are designs that are based on something I came up with about 15 years ago and recently turned into these final pieces. They work as a stencil that you can put onto a piece of folded paper to get a specific and exact design on your snowflake. So I've made 10 of these designs, and I'm making my snowflake stencil pack available right now on my online store. I'm selling the digital files as a pack if you want to print them out yourself. Or my team and I are making physical sets that we're trying to get shipped out in time for Christmas. Since we're on a bit of a tight time crunch and we're doing all of this ourselves, there will be a limited number of about 400 sets that we're selling. And while I don't mean to imply that I've actually been constantly working on this nonstop for 15 years, it has been quite a design process, and I want to share with you a bit of what that process was like. When I first had the idea, I was thinking about making it into a book, like the ones that inspired me to have these sort of craft project books when I was young. I looked into that a little bit. I thought about ways to bind everything together, how the actual plastic pieces could be manufactured. First I thought injection molding, later I thought maybe they could be laser cut out of something. Looking into that at the time, it was crazy expensive. Getting custom parts injection molded 15 years ago was a nightmare. Like your minimum order quantity for things was like in the thousands. Fortunately for me in this project, technology marches on, it progresses, and with the advent of 3D printers being as cheap and as high quality as they are now, you can get several iterations done in a single day depending on what the part is. So once I had my first 3D printed version of this, I realized that there were 3 main problems that I wanted to solve. The first is actually not with the patterns themselves, it's with the paper, or the paper is fine. The user is where the problem comes in. Generally speaking, when you're folding this down into the snowflake cutting shape, the first fold is easy enough. You're just lining up an edge creased in the actual corner and you don't like misalign it. This right here, bad. This right here, good. First fold, easy enough. Cutting this piece of paper off, also easy. Second fold, this is the easiest one. It's very hard to mess up. Line up your corners and you press it flat. There you go. The fold into thirds. This is the nightmare. It is so hard to get these folds exactly right. On your first fold, you're kind of just like guessing, like, oh, where makes this side and this side the same? You put it on and it looks right, and then you try and fold this one over and it doesn't even come close to lining up with the edge. So then you have to like adjust it a little bit at a time. Try that fold. Is that it? Nope. And then you got to go a little bit more. Try that fold. Still off. All right, that's close enough. We're gonna call that good enough. Oh, also this part, very easy. Done. I don't know if anyone ever messes that part up. So problem one, getting that fold correct, that 1/3 fold, because if you get it misaligned and then you start cutting in from the sides, your folds aren't always going to line up. So you're gonna have a piece that's cut out of one side but not the other. Sometimes it's gonna mess with your hinge, sometimes it's gonna make it so your pattern doesn't transfer everywhere. The second problem I knew I wanted to fix was sturdiness. And boy, this is a place where I'm so glad I didn't have to like wait for an injection mold to be made so I could test it out, and then if it was wrong, pay another $10,000 for a new injection mold to be made. I can print one. I can see, is it sturdy enough? Do I like it like that? Or do I need to print it thicker? And making it thicker to print is like 2 seconds of editing in the CAD program. This is the hypothetical first version that I designed. You can see I've even included here in this the spiral binding option where I could attach this into a book so you could switch from one design to the next. But the biggest flaw with this is really that it's not very sturdy. This is the kind of thing that will get broken apart very quickly and is just not robust. The third thing I wanted to address was one of alignment. Putting this in the right spot is not terribly difficult, but as you're tracing on it, it's going to be a lot easier to prevent it from lifting or scooching or sliding if there's some form of alignment that keeps it locked in place on the paper rather than just free floating around. Now, you fans that have been here a while have seen that I'm making some of my projects available on my website, like the tree and the wreath that I did before, and this project today is something special that I'm also going to be making available on the site. I've been working hard to set up a website to share all these fun projects, and I've been able to do that thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. Guys, having a professional website is one of the most important assets any creative or entrepreneur can have right now. From claiming a domain to creatively showcasing your work to getting paid, Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. It's been so helpful in getting my 3D printing creations out to the masses. You guys. So one of the features that was super helpful for us is the built-in design tool that helps you make your site customized and unique. Everyone wants a website that fits them and their brand perfectly, and Squarespace has Blueprint AI, which is their AI-enhanced website builder to get a fully custom website in just a few steps. With basic information about your industry and goals, it can give you personalized design recommendations. What's been so useful for me and my team are the online shop and payment features. We have our digital 3D models available on our website, and Squarespace's merchant features streamlined the whole process. They've got easy online payments and built-in tools for inventory, shipping, and fulfillment. It all runs automatically. Squarespace simplifies your whole workflow while giving your customers a seamless shopping experience. Guys, use my link in the description, squarespace.com/nfti for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use my promo code NFTI to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Go use Squarespace to easily create a professional online presence. Now back to the design elements I'm working on for this next project. So, folding the paper, sturdiness of the parts, and alignment. My 3 big issues. The solution to problem 1, the folding of the paper. Well, this is the first piece that I designed because I knew that I wanted to make sure that I can get a perfect and uniform piece of paper every time. Otherwise, it's gonna be really hard to line a stencil up. It's just a triangle that's just the right size to fit into a piece of paper so that you're going to fold it correctly every time. All you have to do is line it up so that the point of our triangle is just lined up right with the point on the paper. Just fold up against that, kind of crease it in place, fold that one, and there you go. So with this super simple, extremely lightweight, just almost nothing piece of plastic, that's all it takes to get a perfect uniform snowflake shape every single time. I'm so mad that I went my whole life not having one of these. It's so easy. All right, issue to solve number 2. Sturdiness. I did choose a thickness that I thought would hold up. It's not just gonna snap immediately, but you can see I've still got parts that are just sticking off into the nothing. And while I could certainly trace along those, I would have a lot better time if those were being supported a bit more. I didn't feel like they would be robust enough to hold up to regular use, and they could be flexible enough that while you're trying to trace along it, they move too much, and I didn't want that either. This is the solution that I came up with. I added bars on either side, so there's extra material. It's now wider than the piece of paper you're going to put onto it. And of course, it's filled in all of the spots that were gaps before. The side pieces make it so that these ends have something to attach to rather than just being out in space, and they limit some movement vertically if you were to be pushing on them while you're tracing. Of course, this is not invincible. You could still break this just by trying to twist it or bend it or tear it apart, but in my use tests, it is a lot less likely to break than the freestanding bit with no supports on any side of it. And then we come to our third issue we were trying to solve: alignment. I can take my folded piece of paper and it can be as perfect as I want, but if I put my stencil on there, it is possible to move it up and down too far so it's not in just the right spot. And even if I do get it in just the right place, then while I'm tracing on it, it's easy to make it move or slide out of the way. And I'm of course exaggerating the effect, but it'd be nicer if you didn't have to hold it so securely as you're trying to draw around small details. To help with that alignment, I added not just bars on the sides, but I made them protrude just a little bit. A specific amount, in fact. I tried to measure the thickness of one of these pieces of paper folded to be like a snowflake, and I added that same thickness onto the back of every one of those bars. That makes it so our folded piece of paper, going to become a snowflake, will fit right into the gaps, and everything, the paper and those bars, should touch the table at the same time if you press it down. That makes it a lot easier to draw without anything sliding around. So all three design issues are now taken care of. It's super easy to fold the paper in just the right spots to get an excellent snowflake. The pieces are sturdy enough that I don't have to worry about them breaking apart just from using them, and they line up on the piece of paper just right every time so that you know your lines are going where they're supposed to go. Feeling like I've solved my three big problems, it's time to go on to actually designing each individual piece. I started by just making a list of everything that I could think of as like a classic Christmas icon that might look good in a snowflake. I did generally try and stick to more of the secular icons than the religious ones. After coming up with a list, I tried to maybe pair together some that I thought would go well together, and just overall started creating some basic layouts of how they could look on a snowflake. I did of course run into some individual issues for each design. First and most importantly, you have to be careful not to cut all the way across unless you want a smaller snowflake or a snowflake without a bottom. Now, of course, assuming you're limiting yourself to scissors, another thing you can't really do is cut out anything that doesn't touch the sides. I can't put a hole right through the middle using scissors, at least not cleanly. I also learned through some trial and error that it's very important to not have a lot of design coming up without it being supported in multiple places. It can easily get to the point where everything flops a lot. There's weight up high, and that's going to try and hang down. And of course, the thinner it is, the more it's going to hang down instead of nice and open, so you can see the whole pattern. And in fact, the reverse can happen as well. If you only have supporting around the outside, you think like, oh, well, nothing at the top is going to fall down. But if down here there's only support around the outside and there's nothing in the middle, then when it's trying to hang like this, these portions here are just going to fall right over the same way that these top portions can fall over right now. With all these designing rules in mind, I started designing the pieces to have recognizable icons, but also to be sturdy enough to hold themselves together once they're cut into the shape of snowflakes. All my stencils are made. They're all printed out, and I gotta say, I'm very happy with how they've turned out. So now it's time to actually make one using the tools we have, see what we get, just whole process beginning to end. Okay, the cutout looks good, and now we unfold. Look at that. We've got happy dancing gingerbread men with some candy canes between them. And I gotta say, I'm really happy with how this particular pattern turned out. I like all of them. This is one of my favorites. Pretty fun. I've got 10 different patterns that I created: gingerbread men and candy canes, boxed presents, wreaths and bows, reindeer, stars, holly leaves and berries, snowflakes, so you can have a snowflake made out of other smaller snowflakes, a snowman. This is the one that really gave me the idea for the whole project, bells. And growing up, I actually had a lot of Jewish friends who really liked to celebrate Christmas from a non-religious approach, which I always thought was really fun. So I created one snowflake pattern that is Hanukkah themed. It has a gift and a dreidel and a candle. A couple quick thoughts about actually using these stencils and making the snowflakes. You may or may not be aware of this, but America and probably the rest of the world uses different sized paper. In America, we use what I think is called letter size paper. That's 8.5 inches by 11 inches. Most of the rest of the world uses what's called A4 paper. And I have made the just barely different sized files available for both of those. Use good scissors. When you're trying to cut through this many layers of paper, garbage pair of scissors is going to have a terrible result, and it's just get good scissors. That's all.
What's the matter with these scissors?
Don't go ruining someone's nice sewing scissors, but nice scissors will make a good difference. Tracing out the designs. My preferred method is to use a 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil. If you just go buy a cheap mechanical pencil at pretty much any store, it's almost always going to be the 0.5 millimeter. And as a final tip, when you're cutting these out, the temptation will be real to use the very tippy tip point of the scissors to get into corners. And that's something you shouldn't do. It's a trap they're setting for you.
It's a trap!
Watch what happens if you try and actually cut using the very tip of the scissors. So say we've got just a corner. So we think, well, it's a corner. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna line the end of my scissors up with that spot and I'm gonna cut right to it. Do you see what happens at the end of the scissors? This happens every time. It tears from the pressure of the scissors meeting in that spot. It is not as easy to do, but you get a much better result if you use the middle of the blades. Just cut to the line and then approach it from the other side. That's how you should do corners. Now we are selling the digital files. If you have or have access to a 3D printer, you can make these yourself. Use them as much as you want. We are also offering a limited set of the physical prints. We'll print off an entire set of the 11 pieces and send them out to you. If you buy one of the physical sets, that will come with a piece of paper with a link to an instructional video, and I'll sign every one of those papers as well. If you are interested in getting one of those, I would say do it quickly because there will be only a limited number. So what do you think? Should I come up with a version 2 with more designs? Do you think I've already overdone it with what I've got? I want to hear your thoughts about it. Maybe you've got an idea for how the physical design itself should change. I came up with my parameters, but maybe I missed something. Maybe there's a way to improve this product to be even cooler and better. As always, a huge thank you shout out to all of our supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and if anyone out there is interested in joining my amazing supporters, the link for my Patreon is also in the description.